Why do you have to use BitFingerprint Browser for multi-account operations? We already have free browsers such as Chrome, Edge, and Firefox, as well as domestic browsers such as 360 Speed Browser and Tencent QQ Browser that are developed on the Chromium kernel and are more in line with Chinese people's usage habits. These conventional browsers are fully capable of meeting our daily work and life needs. So why do we still need a BitFingerprint browser? In fact, BitFingerprint Browser is also a transformation and extension based on the Chromium kernel. So what is the difference between BitFingerprint Browser and the above conventional browsers? Why do you have to use it for multi-account operations? This video will introduce in detail the main differences between BitFingerprint Browser and conventional browsers such as Chrome, Firefox, 360 Speed Browser, and Tencent QQ Browser. 1. Conventional browsers are single-instance browsers, while BitFingerprint Browser is a multi-instance browser. Conventional browsers such as Firefox are essentially single-instance browsers. The so-called single-instance browser means that when you use these browsers to visit a website, no matter how many browser windows, tabs, or multiple Chromes you open, you are the same user for the website. Even if you open multiple incognito windows, the website will still know who you are and will leave fingerprint information for logging into the website. BitFingerprint Browser is a multi-instance browser, and you can create multiple accounts in the Bit client. Each account is essentially equivalent to a completely isolated browser operating environment. When you open a BitFingerprint Browser instance by accessing your account, each instance is completely isolated from other instances. This means that you can log in to the same website with different identities in different browser instances. Therefore, BitFingerprint Browser is particularly suitable for scenarios such as multi-account management, marketing, and online marketing. 2. Conventional browsers have an almost fixed fingerprint information, and BitFingerprint Browser can have multiple fingerprint information at the same time. What is a browser fingerprint? A more popular way of saying it is that when you visit a website through a browser, the website will execute a JavaScript script in your browser, hereinafter referred to as a JS script. The JS script can query the relevant information of the current browser and the computer where the browser is located, and encode the queried information to indirectly form a unique identifier. We call this unique identifier a browser fingerprint. In other words, the browser fingerprint can effectively determine the uniqueness of the browser. For regular browsers such as Chrome and Firefox, they have an almost fixed fingerprint information. They are almost fixed because browser fingerprints rely heavily on hardware information, and your computer hardware information is almost fixed, so the fingerprint information of regular browsers is also fixed. It is precisely because the fingerprint information of regular browsers is fixed that judging the uniqueness of the browser based on the fingerprint information, and then judging the uniqueness of the user behind the browser, has now become a common practice for many websites. In other words, when you use regular browsers such as Chrome and Firefox to visit a website as a certain user, even if you log out and change to another user to visit the website again, the website will judge that the two users are the same person based on the fingerprint information. This is the so-called account association. On the surface, you are using different user identities to log into the website, but for the website, it associates these different user identities together. The BitFingerprint Browser can have multiple fingerprint information at the same time, and specify different browser fingerprints when accessing different accounts, so that multiple accounts can be logged in and operated safely at the same time. We can specify a unique browser fingerprint for each account in the BitBrowser. 3. Conventional browsers have an IP address that is closely related to the computer they are on, while BitFingerprint browsers can have multiple IP addresses at the same time. An obvious problem is that conventional browsers such as Chrome and Firefox can only access websites using the IP address of the computer they are on. Therefore, it is easy for websites to determine the geographical location of the current visitor based on the IP address of the browser. Now I open the Chrome browser to visit Baidu and query my IP address. I can see that the IP address of the Chrome browser I use is 124.126.202.60, which is located in Chongping District, Beijing. Perhaps you will say that we can configure a proxy and access the website through a proxy server, so that the website cannot track my IP address. In fact, accessing the website through a proxy only helps you establish a network path, and it cannot cover up the real IP address of the computer where the browser is located. Still taking the Chrome browser I use as an example, I now configure a Japanese IP proxy address, and then visit Baidu to query my IP address. I can see that the IP address of the Chrome browser is 103.115.87.222, which is located in Tokyo, Japan. Does this mean that Chrome's real IP address is hidden? In fact, it is not. Let's visit the browserleaks.com website. We can find that the website can easily determine that the real IP address of the Chrome browser I am currently using is still located in Chongping District, Beijing. But the BitFingerprint browser is completely different. You can specify the IP address of a certain city for each account. When you visit any website through the BitBrowser, it will only display the IP address you specified and will never expose your real IP address. Next, we specify an IP address in the United States for an account in the BitFingerprint browser. We visit this account and open the BitFingerprint browser. When we visit browserleaks.com through the BitFingerprint browser, we can find that the browserleaks.com website will only display the IP address in the United States that you specified for this account and will not expose your real IP address. 4. Conventional browsers are for personal use, and BitFingerprint browsers can be used for enterprises or teams. Conventional browsers such as Chrome and Firefox are for personal use, which is very easy to understand. Even if you log in to your Google account in Chrome at this time, no matter which computer or mobile phone you use Chrome browser on, you will find that favorites, website passwords, history records, etc. will be automatically synchronized in different computers or mobile phones. Regardless of whether Chrome browser can achieve cloud synchronization, this browser is obviously for your personal use. BitFingerprint browser is completely different. BitFingerprint browser can be used for enterprises or teams, which is collectively reflected in the above aspects. 1. You can authorize an account to members of the enterprise team, and only authorized users can access this account. 2. For the same account, you can also specify different users to use different access policies when accessing this account, such as functional permissions during access, whether to enable real-time supervision, which plugin extensions are allowed to be used, etc. 3. Bit will synchronize the fingerprint information, IP address, browser configuration including cookies, website passwords, plugin extensions, history records, etc. contained in the account in real time in the cloud. This means that the boundaries between people in the team are eliminated, and any browser window can be freely transferred between team members. Through the above analysis, we can see the difference between BitFingerprint browser and ordinary browsers. If you are operating a social media account or doing cross-border e-commerce, you must use BitFingerprint browser to isolate multiple accounts and ensure the security and independence of the accounts. Click the link below the video now to register BitFingerprint browser. Newly registered users can use 10 window environments permanently for free.